What did you do in 2025?
What I did in 2025 was to discover apparently some of my favorite games of all time. Because even though it came out before now, it wasn't until this year that Hello Kitty Island Adventure came out on a platform that I played it on.
Oh my god, oh my god.
Hello, and welcome to episode 163 of Rhythm Encounter, the RPG fan music podcast. I am your host, Mike Salbato, and we are back with another new music episode. Joining me as usual on these episodes is Hilary.
Hi.
Hello. Happy to have you here.
Thanks. Happy to be here.
So, as we've been doing since the beginning of this year, we are focusing on the last 3 months, ish.
Give or take.
Give or take. Whatever. This was the spring episode, right?
Q2.
Yeah.
Even though we're in Q3 now.
Yes. But basically anything released between April and June was fair game for this. And there might have been a prominent RPG or adventure game or two released in that time.
Well, prominent for us, for sure.
I mean, I think Clair Obscur is pretty prominent for all RPG players.
It's both.
Yeah.
It's both.
So, spoilers, there will be a Clair Obscur song here today. But who didn't see that coming?
Probably not surprising. Yeah, given that I've brought it on at every opportunity so far.
I know, but like it's the biggest release of that time period, so it would be weird to not have it on.
I would argue it's like the biggest soundtrack release in a long time.
Oh, that's true. It's on par with some of those Final Fantasy VII soundtracks recently.
Lengthwise, yeah.
Well, yes, that's what, like in terms of scope and size. Yeah, it's a whole lot of music. Although before we get into that music, we are gonna briefly talk about our other recent listens.
Yes.
The one thing that's similar to regular episodes. So, did you want to go first? What have you been listening to?
Oh, sure. A friend recommended to me an artist named Rose Betts, and I've been enjoying her music a lot. It's a little bit Celtic, but also with kind of, I would say, like pop mastering, some pop effects to it, and just really, really catchy.
It is catchy. I only listened like during that one little car ride. I'm guessing you've been listening beyond that. Yeah, I want to listen to more of her too. She's really good. Any other highlights?
I think the other thing, because I haven't done it yet, is I want to shout out Medieval Lo-Fi, because they keep releasing music, and it's consistent quality. So anybody out there who likes lo-fi, Medieval Lo-Fi is very fun.
And they're on, because you found them on YouTube, right?
Bandcamp. They have a Bandcamp.
Yeah, but originally don't they have like a YouTube channel, but then they started releasing on Bandcamp too.
Right.
Yeah.
And they have like a live YouTube thing where they're doing long mixes often.
Yeah. So it's an easy way to like go and see if you're interested, but I love that they also have Bandcamp so you can support them that way too.
It's good atmosphere.
Yeah, it's great. Well, me, I mean, I think we both been listening to this a little bit, but was very excited that a couple weeks ago, 8-Bit Big Band released their fifth album. We saw them last December, and they were talking about it there. And actually, a bunch of the music they played in their December show in Boston is on this new album. So that's exciting. Getting to relive some of that, but also hear some new ones. So they're consistently good and don't always have quite enough to qualify for RPG fan coverage, but close enough.
This one was pretty close. It's got 2 versions of Cass's theme.
That's true. It has some Breath of the Wild. There's 2 Persona 5 songs. There's an Undertale song. So on top of some Mario Kart, Metroid. I'm very excited about Metroid. The Wii Sports theme.
It's close.
Yeah. Every arrangement they do, like all their albums are so much fun. If you get a chance to see them live, like I definitely recommend it. You know, we're lucky that they keep playing near Boston, or in Boston rather. But I know that they've added some more shows like coming up, like in other parts of the country. They have one in I think it's London either this fall or early next year. So it's neat to see them going more places too. So if you have a chance to see them, the 8-Bit Big Band is very fun.
Yeah, and at the very least, you can check out their videos on YouTube because they put a lot of effort into like little animations, so you can watch that happen as you watch the musicians perform. It's very cute.
They don't need to do that. I mean,
no, they don't.
The footage of their music is all the musicians playing together. It's like I love just watching that happen. But having that with like getting artists to make these animations of stuff happening at the bottom edge of the screen, running around doing stuff, like it's just adds something to those videos. So yeah, a lot of good stuff we've been listening to recently, but I think it's time to talk about something different, which is also recent. I guess that's not very different, is it? But at least this is 100%. This is stuff that we cover.
Yeah.
Rose Betts, probably not.
No.
Although if she ever wants to sing about RPGs, then maybe we could make that work.
Let's ask.
Yeah.
One of your favorite RPGs, which one would you write a song about?
Yeah.
It's kind of a blurry line. I mean, we mix a lot of RPG music with other music just in our daily listening.
Yeah. I mean, what an RPG is itself is a blurry line, as we deal with every day.
Yeah. So it gets a little muddled.
Yes.
But these are Q2 RPG releases. Yes. Starting now.
Except for the first game, which is not an RPG. It's a point-and-click adventure.
Already we've run into difficulties.
I know.
I get it. And I am obviously never going to complain that we cover them, even if they are not Final Fantasy.
Yeah. Even though I still haven't convinced you to write a review of Loom yet. But we're not here to talk about Loom, a LucasArts game from 1990... what?
Oh, you're putting me on the spot.
Oh.
It's super...
Or early 2000s, maybe.
No.
Is it 90s? Okay.
It's earlier than 2000. 1990. Okay, actually, I was going to say 89 or 90. So
1990. That's even earlier than I thought.
Yep.
Okay. That's an old game. But we're not here to talk about an old game.
It's an old musical game.
We're here to talk about Old Skies.
Ooh, slick. That was very slick.
It was slick, except that's your track, and I shouldn't be the one introducing it. Hilary, what are we starting our episode with today?
We're not here to talk about old LucasArts games.
Yeah.
We're here to talk about Old Skies and Mojadai.
Yes.
Which is a very fun time travel adventure. Fittingly, it's got several styles of music, and the track I picked is called The 80s Called by Thomas Regin. The 80s Called. They want their saxophone back.
Is that what you think the rest of the title is implying?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, obviously.
I mean, definitely they want something back. I didn't know if it was saxophone or guitar or something else.
I guess I just decided it was the sax in particular.
I mean, it's so prominent, right?
Yeah, so this is just it was so fun. I couldn't not pick it. And I think there's some good nuance to it as well. Actually, it's not just complete cheese. Like, here's a throwaway track because we just needed something super 80s. Like, you do get the prominent sax, but there's a lot of attention to detail, I think, in that 80s instrumentation. And I love how the saxophone comes in once, and then you actually get this really kind of nice, like slightly soft interlude, which I guess you could make a guitar maybe, or imagine as a guitar. And then the sax comes in again and just wails.
I don't think of wailing sax much, but that's definitely a good way of describing it.
Yeah, that high note was impressive.
It was.
Yeah, but I think it's also just a good way to kind of show and embody old skies, because the whole idea is that you're going to different time periods. So I wanted to pick a track that occurred in a different time period from the current at the start of the game. But other contenders, there actually were some earlier kind of crooner era songs, and actually they do those at the end. So I'm really curious about the in-game context of when 80s, when crooner music, and it makes me want to play the game more.
I'm surprised you haven't played it yet, actually.
Yeah.
They make good games.
Definitely.
Now, go ahead.
I was going to say this is going to be a new one for whenever Bitmap does another, Art of the Point and Click book.
Yeah, unless they revise it.
Oh, yeah. They could also do that.
When we were putting the track list together, as soon as you said, this makes you think of, the opening credits or something from an 80s show.
Oh, yeah, sitcom, for sure.
It was well, then this has to go first. We have to open with this one.
So picture freeze frames, actor names, cheesy fonts.
Exactly. If we didn't already have a great, rhythm encounter theme music, I would just want to open this up, just this episode with this. That was a fun one. So I hope you're all pumped up now, because we have another higher energy track coming up next. Sea of Stars. Not a game where you go back to the 80s, but definitely a throwback to RPGs of the 90s. Got some DLC earlier this year with Throes of the Watchmaker. I'm not totally sure why they just decided to make it free, but I mean, who can complain about that? So along with more game, and some new twists in the combat and the story and all that, there is, of course, another soundtrack, or at least a soundtrack add-on for the DLC. So we are going to be listening to Encounter Elite Narcis version, and like most of the soundtrack for Sea of Stars, this is by Eric W. Brown. That, like I said, was again some high energy music. definitely has that boss theme vibe to it. Got that cool like synthy percussion going on. Really, I don't know. It really, I don't have words. Help me.
Help you?
Help me.
Oh, it's up to me now.
I'm not editing this out, by the way.
Oh, great. Okay. Well, I know the first thing I noticed about it that I think I already mentioned to you, it kind of has a little bit of like Genova energy.
Yes, the thing I forgot to mention. This is why we take notes normally.
And it's mostly in the beginning sequence. That do-do-do-do. There's a little bit of like a descending run that kind of reminds me of that, but it goes in a quite different direction from there, and I appreciate that. It's kind of interesting because compositionally, when you're going for that like high energy boss battle vibe, typically those quick runs, quite often descending runs of notes, that that's a way to create that feeling.
Yeah.
So it's not uncommon, but something about the way they set it up was reminiscent, but didn't feel like it was copying, and I liked it.
No, I mean, most importantly, it feels like a Sea of Stars song.
Yeah, and
it still fits that world and that sound.
Yep, absolutely, and it's not out of place with the rest of the song.
No, it's a lot of fun. I don't know anything about the DLC outside of our review and the music I listened to for this episode, so I can't talk about the context any, except that I enjoy this, and I look forward to us getting to that point and playing this. But I mean, all the music in the game I think is just fantastic.
Yeah, it's a solid soundtrack, and I think that's a frequent I don't even want to say obstacle, but a frequent occurrence if we're doing new music is we're not going to have played everything.
Right.
So best to just enjoy musically.
Exactly.
I'm actually wondering about potential new characters in that DLC. Are there some?
There are some. Jono talked about the characters a little bit in his review, but didn't want to get into any details about the new character. Like he specifically says, like, I don't want to say anything more about this.
Okay. Because that track kind of gave me a feeling of, I wonder what they're pulling in from like the rest of the game and the rest of the DLC. Are there any character themes? Are there any callbacks?
If I recall what I read, like it's not standalone, but like the DLC is separate from the main world.
Okay.
Like there's different jobs or classes or whatever that your characters have, and then there's at least one new character in your party, so it plays a little bit differently than you're used to.
Okay.
Which I think is cool. It's a nice twist instead of just, not that there's anything wrong with doing DLC where it's just more game or more in that world, but the fact that they did this thing that's totally separate is kind of cool.
Yeah, and I bet that's reflected musically.
Yeah. All right, going from one game with cool pixel art to another game with cool pixel art to actually now a third game with cool pixel art. I guess there's even more of a theme here than I realized, thinking about the visuals of all these games together. But yeah, so Deltarune, Chapter 3 and 4, the long-awaited for how many years now? Next chapters in Deltarune launched alongside the Switch 2. So, of course, that meant a whole lot more music for Deltarune. Toby actually released a soundtrack for Deltarune Chapters 3 and 4, but I believe there's also like an updated version of like the main Deltarune. I think there's a new general Deltarune soundtrack that includes 1 through 4 on top of that too. Anyway, what we're going to be listening to today from Chapter 3 or 4 of Deltarune is Ever Higher by Toby Fox. right, so that was Ever Higher. I did, while we were listening on our quote-unquote off-air break time, we did look it up and confirm what Hilary already thought. That is indeed from Chapter 4 of Deltarune. I was also curious how many tracks that 3 and 4 brings the main Deltarune soundtrack up to, and it is now 165 songs.
Wow.
Yeah, that's pretty great. Anyway, yeah, there's something about his music, and there's some notes in this song that really, I know there's something similar somewhere on the Undertale soundtrack. So this has that sound of like, oh, like, yeah, I can see how it's connected, but overall the song doesn't sound anything like anything I've heard from Undertale. But it's, whether this is literally climbing up something, I don't know. That's what I think of with the song name, but also just the way the music seems to always be climbing. You're nodding.
Yeah, I agree. That's kind of the bulk of what I was going to say, is this has such a nice build to it. You start with what sounds like a snare drum, and it's almost like a march. And then instruments come in, you get the really high notes, you get a really intensifying melody that I think you noticed a callback maybe to something similar to a song from Undertale, somewhere in there, and then it just builds and builds and builds, and then it dies down for a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things, I don't know if it's literally a callback to a certain song or even just like a sound in a song, or maybe it's just a feeling, I don't know. But it sounds, I don't know if it's triumphant, but it's very like positive and uplifting as you're doing whatever you're doing. When Deltarune first came out, I was like, this whole chapter thing, I'm fine with it, but I'm worried that I'm going to forget because I don't know when the other chapters will be. So I'm like, I'm going to hold off. And then Chapter 2 came out, and people kept saying, well, now you can play it. I knew there was more. And I know there's still more after this, but at some point, I need to break down and do it.
This seems like a good point to do so from what I know.
Yeah. So I think I need to do it and then get the context of this. So I'm sorry, anyone who's played it and is listening and is yelling in their car or wherever you're listening to our show and be like, no, this is played here. Why haven't you played?
But of course.
I haven't played it yet because I spent blank amount of hours playing Blueprints earlier this year.
Other titles from today's episode.
Yes. So, but no, I want some more stuff on the Switch too, and not that I imagine there's a huge performance difference from playing this on Switch 1 or 2, but there is a Switch 2 edition. So, yeah. Well, I like that. I'm glad you did too.
Yeah.
Okay, so I got 2 songs there. I think it's time to go back to your next one, and I'm excited about this one. A game that has so much more to it and more music than I realized until a couple days ago.
Yeah, this was quite the journey looking into this title to consider a song. And, most people probably think of the voice acting before the music with this title. But my next pick is the theme from the Capriccio Infernal by John Michael Tatum from Date Everything. So, different vibe from our pixely tracks.
For sure. Hey, so what instrument do you think that was, Hilary?
Please leave.
Okay.
The doors were there.
See you later, everyone. I'll be back next week.
Okay, so that was an excuse to play the Dateable Doors theme. Well, let's talk about the track I brought on. I am not doing this on my own.
I'm not here.
Yes, you are.
I was asked to leave.
Oh my god. No.
Okay. All right. I mean, we at least need to talk about the character's name and her theme.
So, what instrument is this? This is very specifically keys, the Dateable piano. Possibly the most elegant character in all of Date Everything.
Hold on, more elegant than the Dateable clothes hamper?
Yes.
Okay.
By far.
Okay.
Definitely more elegant than your Existential Dread. Yeah, but this piece really surprised me. Like, it absolutely makes sense that the piano would have, like, a nice, lovely piano melody. And honestly, this is really successful as that. But the game also has some interesting kind of plots and objectives for the characters that you choose to come back to. And I guess one of Key's is she has a lot of very famous piano relatives and also wants to develop her music career. And so she is actually, I think, like writing and performing music. And so this is not the piece that she, not like the culmination of her arc and like the piece she does and performs, but this is kind of her regular theme.
Okay. It's kind of funny, like, to have this character, this I mean, I love her design too. It's like, gorgeous. Okay, she's a piano. Her name is Keys. Of course, her theme is also on a piano. It's all so on the nose, but it all works so well. I mean, I don't know how you could not make her theme. Are there other instruments too that you can date that are played with those instruments, their themes?
You're putting me on the spot.
Well, you haven't played. I know. That's not fair. We're going to play it.
I've watched a little bit, and yes, we need to play because it'd be funny.
Yeah.
I haven't seen any other instruments in the house. I think it's just the piano. Although it would make sense to have like a guitar too.
Well, maybe. I mean, we can't all play more than one instrument. Some of us can play zero. But no, it's elegant is really the right word for it. It's really lovely and
not exactly what you'd expect from like a silly dating sim.
Yeah.
And one other thing, I chose to bring something from Date Everything because I wanted to talk about the impressive and kind of extreme variety that they have for their music. Like, there are lots of different styles. I think it's the Toaster who is in a band.
All right. Yeah, I was like, what was the other one you were thinking of?
Right.
The Toaster.
So not another instrument, but another musical character is the Toaster. And like there's some really fun, just different styles of music. Like the washer and dryer are tumblers, also on the nose. And so they have like instrumentation and like a very lively kind of music theme that reflects that. Dorian's theme and the sound effects.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Was the Toaster the one that the Toaster sings too?
The Toaster's in a band.
Yeah. No, but not everyone in the band sings.
True.
Okay.
But she's the front.
Yeah.
Front Toaster.
Well, I'm going to have to, along with playing the game, like listen to more of the soundtrack too, because I feel like there's so much range here. If we really wanted to get into it, we could just do an episode on this game.
Probably.
The amount of variety in the characters and music is really fun. So I want to learn some more.
Yeah, for a concept like this game has, you really have to sell it. And I think this music does a great job of being able to support that variety and support the wonderful voice actors while also not clashing or overshadowing.
Yeah.
And also just, it maintains, even though the game isn't all joyful moments, I think the music maintains that just kind of fun spirit that went into this game.
Yeah, for sure. Hey, you know what other game has really great music and fantastic voice actors?
Is it the extremely successful Clair Obscur Expedition 33?
It is the extremely successful Clair Obscur Expedition 33.
Hooray!
I'm not dragging this out because I'm going to butcher the name of the song that I picked. I don't know why I had to pick this song, but it's so freaking gorgeous. I decided to go with it. So, if we ranked our music of the year at the end of the year outside of the Game of the Year awards. No, we do rank it because the Game of the Year. That if anything else wins this year, I kind of would be surprised. I know it's only August, but what a soundtrack.
Yeah.
Anyway, we'll talk about it after. So we are going to listen to Éveil. Éveil by Lorien Testard from Clair Obscur. This is one of the songs in the Spring Meadows area. All right. This is one of those songs where I'm sure we heard it in the game, I think. But maybe it was too quiet in the background because I didn't hear it in the level of detail I did when preparing for this episode. Probably because it's so subtle. Most of the song is so subtle and so delicate. I don't think I picked up on the slight tension of it the way you did, because you mentioned that when I first played it. I hear it now that I'm thinking about it, but it's still it's this really interesting interplay between some tension, but it's also
delicate.
It's delicate and it's peaceful. It's all of these things together, which of course fits the game and the setting and what you're doing. But those are things that I would normally never picture together. I'm sure there's some other music, if we really got into it, I could find something, but I don't usually think of those things going together and working. So if you asked me to describe that before I heard this, I don't know what I would have told you. but that he managed to get all these different emotions here with just this absolutely beautiful sound is really impressive. I don't know who this is for. I don't know who's listening that's going to get this specific but vague, because I can't remember the exact line. There's a line somewhere in Gladiator. There's a couple, actually. There's the way they're delivered, where they talk about like how Rome used to be, but there's one of the characters like delivers a line and it's like almost like a whisper, because they're talking about like how like fragile some of the political like structure, how things have become. It's has always been so effective, and I saw that movie 25 years ago, that it reminds me of this, because they're talking about a situation that's tense and fraught with like no one knows what's going to happen or who can help solve what's going on, but also they're literally like whispering and talking about it, because maybe that's what it is. And maybe I wouldn't have had that thought if you hadn't mentioned the tension part to me, because I'm like, oh yeah, those do go together in this weird, interesting way, and really helps set a scene. And really that works in this game too.
I was about to say, tonally, that completely matches the game.
Exactly. So I guess that's what it is, that it like touched on this memory I had. So I don't know. Again, who listening had that thought of like, Clair, that one song in Clair Obscur, also like this movie Gladiator.
It's an interesting connection to make, though, because that is a very distinctive kind of tone and feeling, and I think it does match with the song. What struck me this time when we were listening is like, it's amazing how in this, like, I hear something stylistically a little bit different in each song, which is incredible. This one, the composer, he's painting with this expansive cinematic brush, and you've got this great kind of soundscape, and then you've got soaring strings and just a really, really expansive sound. And you still manage to get a little bit of that tension in there, and it's gorgeous. And then some of the other tracks feel much more contained and are like completely different styles. Like I'm thinking of Lumiere, which is a very specific kind of French singing style.
Yeah.
And then some of the other tracks with their vocals are yet again quite different. So it's amazing how all these things are very distinctive musically, but I think I would still be able to say like, yep, that is from Clair Obscur.
Right. When you were talking about him painting with like this cinematic brush, were you trying to be at all punny, or did that just naturally come to you?
I wasn't thinking about it.
I love that. I actually love it more that it was just a natural expression.
It's also fitting.
Yeah. All right. Well, we have one more song to talk about, and then I want to go back and play more of Clair Obscur, now that we're talking about it again.
Yep.
Or find that actual line in Gladiator so I can properly quote it. But anyway, our last song is one that you chose today, and I'm super excited to talk about it.
It is. We are going out on a mysterious note today with Under the Black Bridge by Trigg and Gusset from Blue Prince. All right. So, what is the Black Bridge? What is Blueprints? I don't know. It's all very, very exciting, and so is the soundtrack.
Careful how much you say.
I know. I'm going to try and do this without spoiling a lot, but...
I guess what's a spoiler depends on if we count small hints about things.
You were towing a line.
I am towing a line. Why do you think I opened my conspiracy board that helped us finish the game?
So we spent a lot of hours playing this game, and honestly, the music is really a large part of what drew me in and made me say, okay, I am all in to be in this world and open doors and draw blueprints and hurt my brain trying to figure out, you're going to probably chocobo me, but what the hell a new clue means and all the things in that book.
We can say hell.
Oh, okay. That's not a chocobo sound?
No.
Okay, yeah. This music just sets the tone perfectly. Also, I wanted to... It's funny because it's not in this track, but it's very rare to see a soundtrack spotlight an instrument like the bass clarinet.
Yes.
So please check out the rest of the soundtrack that has it. But I had to end up going with this song because this song represents a huge kind of aha moment where you realize that this is way bigger than you, the spunky 14-year-old, claiming your inheritance, and that your family's history is more complicated than you could imagine.
Yeah.
And that the mansion is bigger and has a lot of very strange things going on that you would not expect.
And I don't know how many moments there are in the game that had, or times in the game where I had that kind of feeling, but it's more than one.
You definitely had that. You had that the first time we got to room 46, I think would arguably be one of those points.
Yeah.
And Blackbridge, opening Blackbridge, I think.
Yeah, I mean, you spend so much of what I now know is the early game getting to what you think is the quote unquote goal before you realize what's really going on. And it's, since we played it extensively, it sounds like, oh, you love this game so much, you probably recommend it to anyone, but I don't.
Mm-mm.
Like, you really have to be into what it's doing. I think if you're into it, if you want to be taking notes, if you want to really dig into these super cryptic clues and solve mysteries,
if you're invested in this family and this world,
yeah, then absolutely play it.
If you don't have patience and you don't like a slow burn,
well, it's the slow burn, and I know the randomness of it really gets people. And I get that. Like, if you're trying to do something, sometimes the RNG does not work in your favor, but it depends on what you're doing or where you are. Like, if you're for us, we were trying to simultaneously solve 6 or 7 different things. So whenever one thing that we were hoping to do didn't work out, there was something else we could work on.
Right. And that's actually I think this is a good example of the human brain focusing on the negative as kind of to track safety and kind of as a defense mechanism, but because that randomness can absolutely work in your favor too. You can practically fall into a puzzle solution in some cases, if you're lucky.
Yeah, but I know it's not for everyone, but I literally, some days we were playing it, I literally dreamed about it. It was just so in my head. And sometimes that helped solving puzzles. But the music, you're right, is just something else. I didn't know Trigg and Gusset before this, but I listened to some of their other stuff on Apple Music, and I totally see this is just their style. So I can see why they were brought on to do this game.
I'm really curious how they were found.
Yeah, I know. I actually, as we're talking about it, I wish I had looked that up before now, see if there was some interview or something. But yeah, I mean, if this was always the vision for the kind of sound for this game to have, wow, it just fits so well. And, you know, it's so evocative and mysterious, and after what, 150 something hours, I never found myself getting tired of it. So that's definitely high marks for it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I changed my mind. You should just play Blueprints.
Give it a try.
Give it a try. Maybe it's not for you.
Maybe we'll get into it. And in that case, you were in for many, many hours of fun.
Yeah. Even though we're still waiting for that update to play the weird arcade game.
Yep.
Yeah. Anyway. Yeah. Not the track I would have brought. And I like that you went for something less expected, I think. But it represents one of those, like you said, like an aha moment and a potential turning point when you're playing. So, yeah, it's a good thing to represent Blueprints. All right, and there we have it. There was our quote-unquote spring episode. Well, our post-spring going into summer episode.
It's not August yet.
No. We're going to try to, I should have said this at the top of the episode, but obviously our schedule for the show has been a little odd the last couple of months. Just a lack of people editing, lack of people to edit the show, and just, we've been like really busy. But I'm glad we got to finally sit down and do this one. Games that made their debut for a rhythm encounter are many on this episode. In fact, it's everything except Clair Obscur.
That makes sense. That tracks.
I think we had a Deltarune song on, but not chapters 3 and 4, of course. And we have had Sea of Stars, but not the DLC, because it's brand new. But Perfect. Yeah, most of what was here was all new to the show. Coming up next on Rhythm Encounter, finally, I've been talking about it, I feel like, on way too many coming next episodes, because we keep moving things around. But officially, our next episode is our recent interview with Sean Shafiansky. We talked about some of his new music from last fall into earlier this year. He teased what is now out, one of his next albums, and then he released another album after that. But yeah, he's been really busy and just putting out some really great stuff. So we had a lot of fun talking with him. So listen for that. And then after that, we are doing another episode, as it turns out, on Wild Arms. We did a Wild Arms episode many moons ago, but we're going to bring it back and talk about this, hopefully not forgotten, but definitely has not had an entry in way too long series. If you have some other recent music that you like, you can let us know at music@rpgfan.com. Let us know what you think of these episodes. Should we do more? Should we do 20 songs? Let's not do 20 songs. I'm kidding. In fact, pretend I didn't say that. But yeah, we love feedback. So, let us know. In fact, if you want to reach me, I'm just going to tack this on too. The best way to reach me is at music@rpgfan.com. So, yeah. How about you, Hilary? How can people reach you?
Email's best for me too. hilary@rpgfan.com.
Perfect. All right. Well, if you enjoyed this episode, we are, of course, not the only show on the RPG Fan Podcast Network. We also have Random Encounter and Rib Encounter? Ribs Encounter? Spare Ribs Encounter. We have Random Encounter and Retro Encounter. I really should cut that out, but now it's too funny. Over on Retro Encounter, this was a rare time when I was on Retro Encounter. Matt, Zach, and myself, we talked about Breath of Fire 2. Zach and I played through it again, a beloved game from our childhoods, and we still enjoyed it.
It is podcast.
It is podcast. Matt has never played it, so I love that on Retro Encounter. I love when we get someone who knows the game, whether they liked it or not, along with someone who's never played it. We had a lot of great discussion. Episode 1 was cool. We talked about the gameplay a lot because there's not a ton of story. The second episode, like, we went everywhere on that one. Everything in that game happens in the second half, so we had a whole lot to discuss. So if you also enjoy Breath of Fire 2 or want to know what the deal is and whether the game can outshine its incredibly bad localization, well, the answer is yes, but go listen to us say yes, but in more words. After that, Retro Encounters' next episode is RPG Confessions. It's been a while since the last Confessions episode. It looks like they have a big and good panel for that one. Big and good. That's how I describe things here. A vast, talented panel. That's way better if I stop to think about it. Anyway, yeah, Retro Encounter. Retro Encounters on every other Thursday. Check them out. They are fantastic. Random Encounter posts roughly every other Monday. As you may have noticed, Random Encounter and Rhythm Encounter have been kind of alternating. Sometimes we do 2 of them, 2 of us. Their next or last episode, whatever, a recent episode was about Xenoblade Chronicles X and Persona 5 The Phantom X. Because I thought it would be funny to combine those 2 games. I don't know what we're going to call the episode, but I bet you there's at least one X in it. If you enjoyed this episode and want to interact with us more anywhere else, we are on social media as RPG Fan or RPG Fan.com, depending on the network. You can find those links in our show notes. We have a YouTube, a Discord, a Twitch. Our website is rpgfan.com. You will find our shop on RPG Fan. We have RPG Fan merch. We have our review card collection with Hyperplay RPG. Check all of those out at rpgfan.com/shop. Finally, I'm going to keep saying, if you enjoyed this, do this. If you enjoyed this, visit our website. If you enjoyed this, rate and review us. Subscribe, whatever it is you want to do on Apple Podcasts or wherever it is you get your podcasts. Anything you want to do to show your support, we would appreciate, because I always would love to bring this show and great game music to more people. And I guess that's it. You know, when we don't do a bonus track, it kind of throws off my ending.
Was Dorian's theme the bonus track?
No.
Oh.
Like, we don't have a bonus track at the end, so I'm not sure how we're, like, really closing it out.
We'll see ourselves out now. Dorian's theme again. Of course.
Oh, there it is. There's the horn.
That's definitely going to be the outtake. I can feel it. Just me making fire truck noises.